Hello, I'm ShieldWar100 and welcome to another Batman Miniatures Game 3rd Edition game report. I'm very excited for this one. This is another new crew being taken to the field. I've just got it painted up and it's a bit of a surprise entry at this stage in the game because they've been out for a little while, but I've finally managed to get my hands on a Batman Who Laughs crew, team as it were, from I got it via the Top Hatted Hamster game store, so the models you see here were sent via them, purchased, etc. On that note, please check out the description below. They've given me a 10% discount code that you can use on their web store for your first or next purchase, and that would be great for them and hopefully good for you too. But yes, I'm very excited to see the Batman Who Laughs. I've decided to use them against the Bat Family as another team. I will be using them against more conventional crews, but I just thought the theme was too good a chance to pass up. I really like the Bat Family as well, and I just wanted to get a nice swift game over and done with for the first outing of the Batman Who Laughs before I get into more complex affairs. Anyway, enough rambling from me. Let's get on and see which models are in the teams. Well, the newcomers to my table, here they are. The Batman Who Laughs and his team, so to speak, are making their first debut for my channel. Hurrah, hurrah. I've been waiting for a little while, and yes, very happy to have them along now. Here he is, the man himself. He is a Batman and he laughs, but more to that, he's a little bit Judge Deathy, obviously, from the look of him. He is every bit of Batman as the others. He does not have a bat claw. He's not quite as mobile as the others, but he does make up for that in all sorts of other vicious ways. This is a Batman who does blood damage with a scythe, which is has sharp and reach, so he can hit from a bit further away. He's on a nice big base. Yeah, he's got all the Batman stats, so 5 attack, 5 defense, really good. He's got stealth and all sorts of things. He's also got luck, which is one of the Joker's usual traits. Allows him to re-roll a dice every turn. Nice. And yeah, he's also he's still got detective, but he also has goad, so a good mixture of traits from both Batman and Joker, and yes, a solid set of stats to keep him going. He doesn't have bat armor though. He's not quite as impervious to damage as your average Batman, but yeah, he makes up for it in other ways. And vicious is a word that you could write through this team like a stick of rock from every single member, but this guy is the very embodiment of that word. Other members of the team include his son Damian Wayne, the Damian Who Laughs, more to the point. This guy is he's mainly a stealth close combat operative, I think is the best way to go. He's got sneak attack. Master of stealth means he can't be seen from more than 6 inches away unless he stands in the light or there's night vision or something involved. But sneak attack is really useful. He's an acrobat, of course, so he can dodge incoming shots. Not necessarily especially useful against the Bat Family, but they do have their share of batarangs and things, so that will dissuade them from doing that. But yeah, he's great. He attacks with his claws and teeth, and he's solid. He's got the Death Pack rule as well, so when he and the other members of the team will team up against other members of the enemy crew, he'll get extra bonuses for that. This team, like I said, vicious. They get extra bonuses in combat if they're swarming their opponents, which is pretty awesome. The rest of the team consists of henchmen, which are Robins Who Laughs. Now, these are not any of the named Robins. They're not like Dick Grayson or what have you. These actually represent children who this Batman has taken in and indoctrinated, Jokerized. He's infected them with a nanovirus, I think, much like the one that turned him into the state he was in. And they're vicious, brutal, cannibalistic killers now. They're basically stripped down versions of Damian, so they're kind of like stealth, close combat attackers. They don't have acrobat though, so they won't be dodging incoming batarangs quite so easily, but their stats are still 4 and 4 for attack and defense, but their willpower and endurance is very low, 4 apiece, so they'll be easy to take down. The interesting thing about this crew is that if they take down enemies within 8 inches of the Batman Who Laughs, he can bring models back. So henchmen and things become Robins Who Laughs, so these guys. And if he takes down sidekicks or leaders nearby, then he can bring on extra models with the Dark Influence rules, which I believe is Damian, but it could also be... Let me see, ask if I can bring him on here. Yes, I've got the Commissioner 2 as a model. It's a great model. I didn't put him in the starting lineup today because I didn't think he really quite would it would match his skill set, this particular showing, against the Bat family with all their acrobatics and armour and whatnot. But yeah, he's a great model and has some good utility different to the rest of the crew members. Anyway, I'm going to carry on now. You'll see how this crew behaves. Their objective deck is comprised of cards from the Batman and Joker crews, as well as a few from the generic deck, which I thought would fit in quite nicely. Yeah, looking forward to getting this first go around with them. It's not going to be quite the standard scene for them. I'm sure you'll agree when they're taking on the Bat family crew. They will get an outing against a more standard crew and more members when I have more time to film available. But this should be a nice little themed game for them. Right, let's move on and see what they're taking on. Familiar faces again in the Bat family crew. I really quite like this configuration, and it just seems to work for me personally. It didn't work out in the last game, I have to admit, but yeah, I just really like the configuration, and I like the characters involved. Batwoman, I like her comics, so yeah, and yeah, she's kind of badass in the game too, so that all works out. She is the leader for today. She's taking the boss role. She's a solid Batman-esque character, Batclaw, good armor, beats people up pretty well, and just stats are just shy of Batman's really, but she makes up for that with her aerial combat and her ability to use teamwork with the rest of the crew. Damian Wayne is the only henchman in this crew, having to use the blunt parts of his katanas unfortunately because he's in Daddy's crew now. Yeah, it's pretty solid 4-on-4 attack defense stat line. In fact, it's pretty much the minimum for anyone on this board at all nowadays, for this particular game. But yeah, he's good mobility, not particularly endurable, but he's quite cheap, and yeah, he's I think I gave him the handcuffs today, so he'll be able to arrest people. I'll double check that in a moment. But yeah, carrying on, got Nightwing and Red Hood for the two other members of the team. These guys are both solid. Nightwing's a bit more mobile, whereas Red Hood hits a little bit harder with that crowbar. So yeah, there you go. They're both pretty durable. Nightwing more against shooting, but Red Hood is just durable in general with his Kevlar vest and hardened rule. I think he's got hardened. Yeah, let's carry on and let's see who's got what and where they're deploying. Sorry. Yeah, Nightwing has also got a set of handcuffs to do the arrest rules, so that's 3 of these models have arrest. And yeah, actually, no. It's Nightwing who's got the handcuffs, Red Hood who's got handcuffs, and Batwoman who has the... Sorry, focus in. Batwoman who's got the extra magazine. Okay, right, let's move on to deployment. Okay, both crews are now deployed, and let's see who's where, shall we? Let's start with the Batman crew, because the Bat family's team, shall I say, because they're right in front of me here. But we drew chance encounter for the deployment cards, so that's 8 inches each, with some models having to go at the front of that zone and others having to go at the back. This is how it all worked out, though. For the Bat family, you've got Damian Wayne and Batwoman at the on the platform here next to the smoky gunge. You got Nightwing at the back. He's got a bit more mobility, so I thought putting him a bit further back wouldn't hurt so much. And Red Hood just over here. Okay, so good board coverage for the Bat family. They can get anywhere. They're a very mobile crew anyway. For the Batman Who Laughs team, you've got the main man himself in the middle, giving inspiration to all the Robins who laugh just there. You see, there's the one who's jumping up there. The guy sitting next to him actually has the War Gear card, equipment card, should I say, Darkness, which means every model within 4 inches counts as being in cover, which is nice. Yeah, so that's pretty useful. And finally, Damian out here on the far flank, next to the well, he's writing base contact with that sewer marker, ready maybe to use it in the first turn or not, depending upon what he wants to do. There's lots, the 4 sewer markers are fairly well placed, so he can go in lots of places. Okay, that's deployment. Let's move on to the first turn. Turn 1, phase 1 and 2 both completed. Easy enough to do. In terms of cards played from the hand, I can tell you that Die Hard was played by the Bat Family crew. We've seen this many times before. 2 points. They play it now. They score it at the end of the turn if one of the models that they choose, can't be Batwoman unfortunately, is not dead by the end of the turn. And they've chosen to go with Nightwing on their crew side. So yes, he has to survive the end of the turn. If he does, they scored the 2 points. Nice. No other cards played in this first phase, unfortunately for them, for both sides. In terms of who won the initiative, I can say that in black you can see the Batman Who Laughs has the initiative this turn. So yeah, he'll be going first, activations, etc. In terms of the Raise the Plan phase, again, no cards played from either side's hand, but Audacity is as follows. Everyone on the Bat Family side has Audacity, as you can tell, because there's only 4 models and 4 Audacity counters. And on the Batman Who Laughs side, we've got Damian Wayne having one, the Batman Who Laughs of course has one, and the 2 outlying Robins Who Laughs having Audacity as well. Okay, right, let's get moving. The Batman Who Laughs activated first and ordered one of his Robins to go first. He ordered this one, the one who didn't have Audacity, who was just around here, to move forward, who was inspired though by his presence and able to put down a suspect marker due to the Inspire rule. And as you can see, it's a poisoned fish from the Joker's deck. Yep, so it doesn't look fresh. We've seen this many times before. 2 victory points, easy score at the end of the turn, if as long as it's not picked up. Okay, and if anyone does pick that up, this suspect marker that is, then they will get poisoned for their troubles. Okay, fairly neutral, cagey sort of start, nothing too bold. Well, the Bat Family didn't hang about. Red Hood activated first. He was actually all the way over by this old box, if you recall, in this sort of space here. He activated with Audacity, of course. He, first of all, as a resource, played They Won't See Me Coming from the hand for 1 resource point. One of your models with the leader's psychic or free agent rank, he's a free agent, may perform a manipulate action during its activation without spending an action. So it's kind of a freebie manipulate, as if he was inspired perhaps. He used his movement action to move up to this sewer marker, used the freebie manipulate to go through it, appeared over here next to the Damian Who Laughs, and then thwonked him one with his crowbar. That crowbar is brutal, I didn't realise. Yes, what happened was the Damian Who Laughs actually has no limits on him as a piece of war gear, which allows him to use blood markers as for his efforts, as well as stun. If he wants, he put 2 blood in and 1 stun to maximise the effort, and as you can see, Red Hood matched that dice for dice. But yeah, the fact that that the crowbar is devastating, giving him 2 strength dice, one of those strength dice coming up as a 6, which caused another 2 points of blunt damage, meant that overall, after all the dice were rolled, 5 points of stun damage went through to Damian Wayne, I believe. And yeah, that is sufficient to knock him out. As I said earlier, this Red Hood has handcuffs, so he does indeed have a arrest action, which is what he's about to do. So yes, an unconscious Damian Who Laughs is now picked up as a casualty. And just to rub salt into the wound, let's get them off the streets. We've seen this plenty of times as well. For 3 points, arrest a model, and that's what Damian has just had happen to him. The baddie Damian. Well, Damian. They're all baddie Damians, I suppose. But yeah, 3 points straight off the bat for the Bat Family. They were not hanging about. Another Robin Who Laughs leapt forwards, and this one did have Audacity, but to no real matter, he was inspired as well. He just wanted to put down a suspect marker. He's moved forward from just back here over to here, and yes, he's put down a suspect marker. Okay, carrying on. Batman Who Laughs activated next after the Bat Family decided to pass on their next activation. So yes, he flounced over here with his big cape, and he then decided to goad Red Hood. It was a successful opposed willpower roll, so he moved the vigilante into base contact with himself, and yes, then he used his scythe to attack Red Hood. Both sides put in maximum effort, so yeah, there you are. All the dice were rolled. At the end of the day, just the strength die got through. It wasn't a critical, but it was sufficient to do 2 blood damage to Red Hood there, and yeah, that's the Batman Who Laughs turn over with, but quite an interesting one. Damian Wayne next up. He had audacity, if you recall. He was also inspired by Batwoman's presence, and sorry, let me just bring this round. Silly place for me to stand. Yes, he activated first. He was actually deployed outside the normal deployment zone because he took the undercover training war gear, which the Bat family can take, so he was able, without moving, to use his freebie manipulate to put down a snitch marker, which we've seen a lot of times before. It's a suspect marker for 3 points. If there's no enemy models at the end of the turn within 4 inches of it, they'll score those lovely 3 points. So that's a good shout for them, I think, at this stage of the game, because the Batman Who Laughs crew is mostly still in its deployment zone. So he then used his Batclaw as a special and movement action to jet off over to this Robin Who Laughs and faced him down. Yeah, he did 8 points of stun damage. 4 hits got through. He's got handy and sharp on those paired katanas, so he, after the rerolls, he hit with every single die, even on 4s, so that's quite a feat for him. And yeah, he even put 1 point of effort in. 8 points of damage. This Robin is knocked out, and that completes Damian Wayne, well, Prime Earth Damian Wayne's turn. Okay, another Robin Who Laughs activated. This was the little one who was over here by his audacity counter, which is now gone. Yes, as he activated with audacity and also being within 8 inches of the Batman Who Laughs, he was also inspired. He moved round into base contact with Red Hood, who's already been attacked this turn. Popped down a suspect marker with his freebie manipulate action, and then used his tactical action to attack Red Hood with his teeth and claws. Now, this particular Robin Who Laughs has the what is it? The Hunter particular piece of equipment equipped for him, which means he gets +1 to hit against models which have already activated this turn, which this guy certainly has. And also the Death Pack rule, which is a trait on his profile, means that if he attacks a model which is already in base contact with another model in the same faction, which is what he is, he gets a further +1 to hit and an extra attack die. So this guy had a hefty and not with the 3 extra efforts he put in as well. Red Hood couldn't put any effort in himself. He had a whole stack of dice hitting on 2s, which was pretty amazing. Yeah, and when all was said and done, a pretty good defensive roll came out, and 4 hits got through for 4 points of blood and 4 points of stun. Red Hood has Kevlar vest and hardened, which would enable him to get rid of some of those blood damage, because he was about to go unconscious, but unfortunately for him, with their 1 resource point that they have, the Batman Who Laughs played Apex Predator as a resource, where if we just have a look at that, when a model within 8 inches of a friendly Batman Who Laughs model successfully completes a melee attack, change all stun damage to blood damage for that attack. So yeah, this is one of 6 cards that the Batman Who Laughs adds to the deck, which is just, only for him specifically. They're like his named cards, but he's got 6, 2 sets of 3, and yeah, so there you go. It's hard to score them, but the resources are quite handy. So yeah, so that actually goes from 4 blood and 4 stun to 8 blood damage, which is there. And really, with the 2 blood damage that Red Hood's already taken this turn, there's no stopping him from being removed as a casualty right now, being torn asunder by the Robin Who Laughs. And yes, that enabled them to score dirty job from the hand for 1 point, a solitary 1 point, which seems a bit anticlimactic after all that, but yeah, making them a KO or casualty, they just did so, and yeah, 1 point is 1 point, it gets something out of it. But Red Hood being removed from the board is a big hit against the Bat family crew. Batwoman next up, the faction leader for the Bat family. She engaged her Batclaw and moved all the way from the back here into base contact with the suspect marker that was where her activation token is now. She couldn't get into combat with anyone else, unfortunately, just enough to get into base contact with the suspect marker, which she removed using her manipulate action, and doing so allowed her to play The Fire Rises from the hand, which is a League of Shadows card. It's in the deck courtesy of Damian Wayne, Wayne's presence, and for 2 points, reveal an enemy suspect within 6 inches of your boss, and she is the boss, so certainly counts in for 2 points there. Nice instant score for the Bat family, but alas for them, so long it's been a gas. Played straight out of the Batman Who Laughs hand, one of the Joker crew card, 2 points, and yes, it's a lot of text. Basically it allows them to react to the removal of this suspect marker by scoring 2 points of their own for getting the heroes to do it for them. And then yes, I'll actually now need to place a friendly suspect marker in contact with one of the Batman crew, who will then get enervating, and I haven't worked out who that is yet because I forgot. I'll do that in just a second. And the last Robin Who Laughs was the model to activate for the Batman Who Laughs crew. It's their last activation of turn 1. He was in inspiration range of the Batman Who Laughs, so he just hopped up here and popped down a suspect marker. He didn't have audacity, so could do no more, unfortunately for him. Yeah, but there you go, suspect marker down. That concludes the Batman Who Laughs crew's activations. We're just going to pop over to see what Nightwing's going to do. Nightwing activated. He did not use his bat claw. He didn't have to. He's got a prodigious movement with acrobat. He jumped up the pile of crates and boxes just there, as you can see, and ended up just here by dint of his ordinary movement. 13 inches though with acrobat. It's pretty, gets you where you need to be, generally speaking. He then used his wingdings, his throwing weapons basically, on this Robin Who Laughs down here. Now this is a Robin who's got the darkness equipment, so he always counts as being in cover, which took a dice off. Also with throwing beyond the wingdings natural short range, so there's another dice off. It was 1 dice basically, and the Robin Who Laughs being small meant it was hitting on 5s or 6s instead of 4s. Nonetheless, the 6 duly came up and caused 1 hit on the Robin Who Laughs. 2 points of stun for him, but that does conclude the turn's activations. So we're going to go to the recount phase now. Oh, incidentally, when it came to So Long It's Been a Gas just before, I opted to give it to Damian Wayne there. So he gets 2 enervating, and there's the suspect marker he's just put out. Okay, right, yes, so to the recount phase, where we shall work out which cards have scored this turn. Okay, recount phase just totted up now. For cards to score, the snitch marker is very much unmolested for the Batman crew, so 3 points for them. Equally unmolested is Nightwing round here, who has Die Hard played on him, so 2 points for them because he's still live and kicking. On the Batman Who Laughs side, it doesn't look fresh scores because that fish is still on the board, so 2 points for them. And also coming out of their hand, Stick to the Plan, a generic card for 2 points. Played in this phase, you must have more suspect markers than your opponent in play. Batman Who Laughs has 3 suspect markers, including the stinky fish, whereas the Bat family have just the 2, snitch and that one over there. So yeah, that one will revert to a normal suspect marker. The fish will stay a fish, but it won't score again, but it can poison people, don't forget. Yes, quite an interesting first turn. The Bat family playing very aggressively, and it seems to be, well, it's paid off for them in terms of they've hit models hard and taken out the Damian Who Laughs, but they did lose Red Hood, but in doing so they did also cause a fair redeployment of the Batman Who Laughs, whose silhouette can be seen menacingly through there. Will that pull Batman Who Laughs out of position critically for the remainder of the game? We don't know. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's go to turn 2. Right, we're in turn number 2 now, and the first 2 phases are complete. Take the lead and raise the plan. In the first phase, both sides had a card to play. For the Bat family, they played From the Shadows for 2 victory points. Another one here from the League of Assassins deck because of Damian Wayne's presence in the team. Played in this phase, scored at the end. We've seen it plenty of times before, but just to recap, they have to nominate a model as an objective, an enemy one, and they have to remove it as a casualty first for the turn. And yes, so the one they've chosen is this Robin Who Laughs, who remains knocked out. I think I forgot to mention that in the recount phase last turn. He didn't pass his endurance roll to come back. It wasn't surprising, he was only on 4s, and yeah, well, not likely to get that or under on 2 dice. The Batman Who Laughs crew played Die Hard from the hand. The same as the Bat family did last turn. They get 2 points if they manage to keep this Robin Who Laughs in one piece for the end of the turn. Okay, right, moving on. The Bat family won the initiative this turn with a sterling 5-2 score, so they'll be going first. And in terms of audacity from Raise the Plan, well, every model on the board has audacity. We're dealing with two fairly small teams at the moment, so yeah, every model's got audacity now. So let's get on with doing some activations for turn number 2. First activation taken by Batwoman as leader of the Bat family for this game, and she wanted to fulfill the criteria for the From the Shadows card as was just played. The first thing she actually did was use her tactical action to throw one of her batarangs remote controlled at this Robin Who Laughs up here. He has the darkness equipment, don't forget, so she had to remove the strength die, and only one of the two remaining dice managed to hit him for 2 points of stun damage, as you can see just poking out from behind him there. Not enough to knock him out. He took 2 points last turn again, but yeah, that one of those points came off, so he's teetering on the edge of being knocked out, but it wasn't enough. Wasn't quite the start that Batwoman wanted, but she sufficed herself by moving up into base contact with the KO'd Robin Who Laughs, and she's using her special action to arrest him. So I'm just gonna pick him up now, so he's gone. Okay, unfortunately no get them off the streets to play this time, wasn't in the hand unfortunately, but got to weigh that against actually getting a model off the board, you know, to actually start asserting dominance that way as well. But it does score those 2 points from the shadows for the end of the turn. Okay, over to the Batman Who Laughs. Okay, Batman Who Laughs is looking at doing some more sneaky ploys. This Robin Who Laughs, who originally was situated over next to his master here, activated first. He had audacity, and he also was inspired by the Batman Who Laughs. So he moved down to this sewer marker, and used his freebie manipulate to zip on through over here to this sewer marker. He then used his final audacity born manipulate action to pop down a suspect, which as you can see is another snitch. Both sides being able to take the snitch this game. We'll see how it benefits either of them, shall we? Yeah, so 3 points, exactly the same as the one normal Damian Wayne played last round, and yeah, 3 points potentially in the offing. There are actually quite a few things that the Bat family can do to nullify this one, because they're a very mobile team themselves, but it'll pull them out of position perhaps anyway. Okay, let's move on and see what's going to happen next. And yeah, like I just said, Damian Wayne, real version for the Bat family, activated for them, and yes, he moved to intercept that snitch marker. Can't let that go unchallenged, not really. First of all, he was inspired by Batwoman over here, and has a freebie manipulate for that, so he used his detective ability to pick up this stinky fish with a reveal action, so I'll just do that now. There it is, gone. And yes, that gives him poison 1 as shown there, but as he revealed a suspect marker, he was able to play Comb Through Everything from the hand for 2 victory points, reveal enemy suspect marker, and it allows them to cycle their deck a bit more, which is quite useful, and 2 points. Annoyingly, of course, the Batman Who Laughs also had So Long It's Been a Gas, much like has happened before, for scoring 2 points back. Lots of text, but it basically is the one, remember, when he reacts to the Bat family picking up one of his suspect markers. If he happens to have that card in his hand, he can play it to nullify their 2 victory points. It does, however, enable Batwoman to put down a suspect marker of her own there and get those innovate, but she does also suffer innovating too the next time she might be called on to make efforts. Annoying. But yes, that's what you get for playing these tricksy crews, I guess. Playing against them, that is. Right, so Damian then decided he'd move over here into base contact, there we go. Base contact with the Robin Who Laughs and attack him with his tactical action. He was already nullifying the snitch marker by being within 4 inches of it. So yes, why not have a go at beating the little guy up as well. Yes, all was said and done. The Robin Who Laughs put 1 effort in. Damian Wayne couldn't put more than 1 effort in. Remember, he had innovating 2 from before. And yeah, unfortunately, a bit of a whiff, despite the fact that Damian had 4 dice plus the strength die, but all of which, you know, were pretty much, you know, hitting on 4s with rerolls because they're handy and sharp, those katanas. Unfortunately, it just didn't really happen for him. Only 2 hits, and the Robin Who Laughs passed every single one of his defense rolls, so no damage from that attack apart from the 2 efforts that were put in by either side. The 1 effort each by each side. So yeah, but it's not always going to happen for you, and yeah, nonetheless, Damian did pick up a suspect marker in his turn, and he's nullifying a snitch, so not a complete waste. Going with the Batman Who Laughs himself now. He activated with audacity, of course. First of all, he picked up the suspect marker using the detective ability that was actually over here where he started the turn. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. There we are. And he turned it into, as he revealed it, he turned it into some valuable commodities for 3 points. He'll be carrying them around for the rest of the game. We've seen this card a few times, lots and lots of text, but he'll be carrying that loot marker around. He needs to stay conscious or alive in order to keep holding it. If he's still got it at the end of the game, that's a lovely 3 points. That's the basic version, and I'll pop that on his character card now. He then, with one of his 2 resource points, because Red Hood died, that's one of the searcher traits off of the Bat family crew. They actually get 2 resource points now instead of just the 1. He was able to play as a resource they won't see me coming from the hand, which we saw before, I think for the other side actually, but yes, it gives him an additional manipulate action this turn. He moved to the sewer marker and then manipulated it to move over here. Yes, puts him in the middle, puts him in easy inspiration range for these 2 Robin Who Laughs, so that's quite useful for him, and that concludes his turn. So yes, a card for resources and a card for potential scoring. Pretty good. Nightwing taking the last activation for the turn for the Bat family. He again didn't use his Bat Claw. He was able to just jump down from here. He's acrobatic, so he gets to doesn't have to spend quite so much movement to do stuff really. And he was able to jump just here with his normal movement. And yes, he knocked out the Robin Who Laughs here, who was on 1 point remaining of stamina. It was actually a close call, to be perfectly honest. It was only the strength die that got through. He kind of whiffed it, even with handy. But yeah, luckily the mechanical stun batons he's got managed to do the damage to knock out this little Robin Who Laughs. And yes, again, this Nightwing, as I said before, has handcuffs. So for his special action, he's going to arrest the Robin Who Laughs, and sure enough, get them off the streets. Was in the hand this time. And yes, arrest a model, 3 victory points. Nice. And yeah, the Bat family's really starting to turn the screw on too many damage counters lying around on the board. The Bat family is really starting to turn the screw on these critters. It makes for quite a nice little cinematic setup as well. If I just come around here, you can see the Batman Who Laughs. He's also cinematically just about to face down Batwoman and Nightwing there, in a good old comic book protagonist-antagonist fight. Possibly. We'll see how the game goes. Rounding off the turn's activations, the final Robin Who Laughs activated. He was over here next to his audacity marker, which I'm picking up now, live. He could have done a few things. He could have run up and tried to eat the face off of one of the 2 heroes here. He instead opted to move behind the Batman Who Laughs and put down a snitch marker, another suspect, and the second snitch card for the turn out of the hand for the Batman Who Laughs. We just saw it over there, but this one's being nullified, so popping down a second one in the last activation of the turn really does say something. It's probably it will score, and we'll confirm that in the recount phase at the end, which is what we're going to go to now. Okay, recount is now finished. Fair bit to relate, so let's get started. Let's start with the cards that managed to score or didn't. From the Shadows did score for the Bat family. That's the one where they said that they would get rid of one of the Robin Who Laughs, who was down here. They arrested him first, and so yes, that's 2 points for the Bat family. He's off the board now safely. On the Batman Who Laughs side, things not quite so cut and dry. Of the 2 snitch markers though, this one does not score, as we found out, because Damian is there, but this one is placed at the end of the turn. No way for the Bat family to react, so one of these 2 cards scores. Okay, there's no way for actually both of them to score, just for anyone who's sort of relatively new to the rules. You can only score 1 copy of a card in any given phase, or a given time, shall I say. But having 2 snitch markers down, although they both score at the end of the turn, it gives you 2 bites of the cherry, so to speak, just as it did here. So when this one failed, there was no harm in putting this one down here. Okay, So that's one of these discarded, the other one put on the score pile. And finally, Die Hard does score for the Batman Who Laughs crew for 2 points. This Robin Who Laughs is still up and running, so yes, 2 points. It was a bit touch and go. Damian could have taken him out potentially with ease, but was not to be. So yeah, 2 points for them there. Other things that happened in the recount phase is every model that could took off a point of stun damage. Damian took his poison roll because he was poisoned because he was handling the stinky fish. He actually passed the die roll. He gets 3 dice and picks the 2 lowest that he wants. However, the Batman Who Laughs as a resource with his last resource point played, it doesn't look fresh. For the last point, it enabled him to take one of the die rolls out. He took out a 1, meaning that Damian had to pick a 6 at the other end of the scale, and failed his endurance check accordingly, taking 1 point of blood damage. Bit of fun, also helps cycle the deck a little bit. Okay, well, that's that. Oh, all the models on the Batman Who Laughs side do have the sneaking ability, which gives them a 2-inch move right now. I'll get onto that, and then we'll move on to the next turn. Okay, turn 3 starts, and just the one card played by either side. Let's Dance has come out of the Batman Who Laughs hand. It's another Joker crew one for 2 points. They play it now. They'll score at the end of the turn if a friendly model with a leader's sidekick or free agent rank suffers damage from enemy action during this round. And that's the Batman Who Laughs, basically. If he takes damage from anything that the Bat family throws at him this turn, they'll score 2 points. And I don't know if that would do much to dissuade the Bat family from having a good go at him. I don't know. It wouldn't dissuade me, I tell you, since he's such a pivotal model, but it will score 2 points if they manage to. So there we go. In terms of audacity and things, all the models on the board have audacity, as you can see there. There's only 3 models left aside at the moment, so yeah, there you go. And finally, just to mention, there was no roll off for initiative this turn. The Bat family gets to choose 1 turn a game where they can have the initiative automatically, and they've just opted to take it now, sensing that this is the best time to do it. Yes, they'll be going first this turn automatically without recourse to a die roll. Well, speaking of that, let's get on with it. Right, Batwoman swinging straight into action. She activated first, and she decided, well, first things first, she had audacity, and for 1 resource point, They Won't See Me Coming came out of the hand again. For 1 point, it gave her an additional manipulate action. I mean, we've seen this already twice, I think. This game just keeps coming into the hands. It's funny, all the times I've been wanting to showcase this card for how useful it can be, but just not seeming getting it in the hand at the right moments, and now it's come up multiple times. So that's the way of a card-based activation system. You can have that. But yes, so first of all, she used that bonus manipulate to pick up the suspect marker, which was sort of down around here next to her, and she used that to turn it into valuable commodities, much like the Batman Who Laughs earlier. Same card, different deck. So yes, she's got the 3 points on her for that. So I'll pop that little satchel on her character card. She's still got that end of the game. 3 points for Bat family. She then used her tactical action from her normal set of actions to throw a remote control batarang at this Robin Who Laughs over here, and I'll explain why in just a second. But she rolled sufficient to do 2 hits, which knocked him out straight off. Not necessarily that surprising, really, but yes, so that's that. The reason she did so is because this Batman Who Laughs has the Protect Me trait, which means he'll be able to use any Robins or any other models in his crew, I think, as meat shields. So even if she had gone in and attacked him, or if someone else had gone and attacked him, say Nightwing for example, for a point of effort, he'd be able to transfer all the damage onto this Robin anyway, which would have sort of been pointless, really, since he's a lot harder as a target than the Robin anyway. So got to clean away the bodyguards first, really. And and as you can see, her last thing to do was to use her movement action to move into base contact with the Batman Who Laughs. So there you go. That concludes Batwoman's turn. She's got some valuable commodities on her. She'll be looking to stay alive, and she's just moved into contact with the Batman Who Laughs. Maybe that was foolhardy. The Batman Who Laughs activated next, and despite having the temptation of being able to thwonk Batwoman there, he managed to resist it. He had a game plan in mind. He's noticing his ranks are getting thinned out a little bit by all the throwing batarangs and the arrests and everything like that. So time to show his opponents what he can do. He moved over here with his normal movement and attacked Damian, normal Damian shall we say, with his scythe. Now he's got the bar piece of equipment, which means he's got the death pack rule, much the same as the Robin, so he gets extra dice if and extra attack, no, actually an extra die, I think, no, yes, an extra die, sorry, and an extra +1 to his attack rolls if he's attacking someone who's in base contact already. Yeah, and he's also got the blood scent rule, which, because this Damian's got a point of blood on him from the poison last turn, he gets a further +1 on his attack dice rolls and his strength die roll, meaning that he was hitting poor Damian here on 2s when all was said and done. Damian put in maximum effort to reduce the dice pool, and the Batman Who Loves just put in 1 token effort back just to give him some extra dice. But when the dice pool came up, it was enough for 4 points of blood damage to get through, 2 hits that is, which is enough to kill Damian Wayne. So yeah, there you go. Doesn't score any cards, but what it does do is the Batman Who Laughs, when an enemy model gets killed, a henchman with a certain points cost at least, then he can resurrect or put into play one of his Robins Who Laughs in base contacts before the enemy model gets picked up. So there you go. An extra Robin Who Laughs has just been brought into play there at the expense of one of the Bat family's very few models. So there you go. Unfortunately no cards scored, like I said, but yeah, that should maybe help them score it a bit in the future. Nightwing decided it was time that the Batman Who Laughs stopped laughing. He activated his Batclaw from all the way over here, which he had to do to get into base contact with the enemy leader, and yes, he put in maximum effort. He had the teamwork bonus for being the Bat family all gets teamwork 1 with each other, so the teamwork 1 basically gives him 1 more extra attack dice when he's attacking in his activation, as long as within 4 inches of another member of the team. So there you go. And yes, it was all a bit pivotal really, the combo, the re-rolls. It was enough to do 3 hits after all was said and done, including the strength die, and that's 6 points of stun damage, which was just enough to knock out the Batman Who Laughs. Which is really quite surprising, to be perfectly honest. Good one, Nightwing. Unfortunately, having used his special action to use the Batclaw, he could not arrest this guy, so that was a problem. It was, however, sufficient to score Jason Todd's actual card, Seeking Revenge. That's Red Hood, actually, for those of you not in the know, for 3 points. Inflict at least 3 hits with a weapon that reveals focus please, that inflicts stun type damage. Sorry, I don't know why it's not focusing. There we go. Against the enemy model with the highest reputation cost. So yeah, very much this guy. And yeah, so 3 points in the bag there for the Bat family, and the Batman Who Laughs out of the picture for the time being. But he's got odds on he's going to be coming back for next turn. The newly created Robin Who Laughs, I'm assuming he's sort of technically magicked into existence by the Batman Who Laughs when he releases enough energy when he kills someone, so he brings through another Robin Who Laughs from his own dark universe, or something like that. Anyway, he was inspired by the Batman Who Laughs, so he moved up and popped down a suspect mark, and as you can see, it's a return of the stinky fish from It Doesn't Look Fresh. 2 points, and yes, there's not much that the Bat family can do to stop that, because they're all activated out for the turn. So yeah, we'll just go to this last Robin Who Laughs and see what he gets up to. And yeah, this Robin Who Laughs, who is a hunter on his equipment. So I've given, he's got the hunter equipment card, gives him +1 bonus to attack dice rolls when performing melee attacks against models which have already activated this turn. So applied against Nightwing here. He activated, he put in maximum effort, he just moved into contact and attacked. Yes, after all said and done, 2 points of damage were done. That also inflicts enervating 1 on the ex-Robin here. So yeah, it means he can score I'm Feeling Weird from the hand of the Batman Who Laughs for 2 points, inflicting effect on an enemy model while enervating is in effect. So there you go, 2 points for the Batman Who Laughs team right there. And that concludes the turn's activations, and we're going to go now to the recount phase. Okay, Recount Phase just completed. Fairly unsurprisingly, the Batman Who Laughs did recover from being KO'd, so he's just knocked down, albeit with 1 point of stun to go before he goes unconscious. And this Robin Who Laughs remains knocked out. Not surprising there either. He'll be missing out the remainder of the game in turn 4. In terms of cards scored, quite a bit of a bonanza there for the Batman Who Laughs crew. Oh, just one piece of admin quickly. This Robin Who Laughs picked up the valuable commodities when Batman Who Laughs dropped them, so he now has them if he's lucky enough to stay remaining conscious for the remainder of the game. Well, I guess we'll find out. Anyway, yes, so cards to play. The Let's Dance card, to show you that, for Batman Who Laughs does score, because Batman Who Laughs well and truly got trashed this turn, so that scores them 2 points for guessing they would. The It Doesn't Look Fresh card scores 2 points for the Batman Who Laughs crew, because it's very, very much in play, so a nice bit of scoring. And Stick to the Plan came out again for the Batman Who Laughs for another 2 points, so you have more suspect markers than the Bat family does by now. Okay, so still scoring hard, even if they're not actually you know, not doing too well on the board, but that said, there's only 2 members of the Bat family left, so what can they effectively do about that? Right, so yeah, no cards scored in the end phase for the Bat family, but they've been scoring throughout the course of the turns as well, so don't rule them out yet. Okay, let's move to the last turn and yeah, see what's going to happen, who can get those last few points, etc, etc. Right, the last turn is now underway. First 2 phases are now completed. Right, so in the first phase, the Bat family managed to play From the Shadows again for 2 points. We saw that earlier. The model they have nominated that needs to be removed as a casualty first by them is the Batman Who Laughs himself. Then I rolled for initiative, and the Bat family won again, 4 points to 3. So yes, they'll be going first. Crucial, that one. Yeah, and so there you go. In the second phase, Audacity was put out, and it's every model again has Audacity, nice and easy. Yeah, let's get on and see who can score those last few fateful points. And with a fairly, a fair sense of inevitability, Batwoman activated first. She moved into base contact with the knocked down Batman Who Laughs and knocked him promptly unconscious again. Yes, he couldn't use his Protect Me trait because he was knocked down. You can't use any traits that require effort or anything like that whilst you're on the ground, and yeah, so no Protect Me to activate to make the Robin Who Laughs take that damage, which knocks him out. She then uses her special action to arrest the Batman Who Laughs, because yeah, he doesn't have anything to stop that from happening. And even if she did, I think it's her criminology trait means that she can arrest people who can't normally be arrested as well, so that's pretty useful. Having done that, again, yes, for the last time, I guess, Get Them Off the Streets is played for 3 points, arrest a model, and they just have, so 3 lovely very necessary points there for the Bat family, and that will also obviously satisfy From the Shadows earlier as well, so pretty good ending move for them. Okay, right, let's move on, see if the Batman Who Laughs can squeeze any points out. The Robin Who Laughs, having just seen his master brutally beaten down and arrested, decided that he would beat a hasty retreat from over here. He ran up here. He's got quite high movement of 12 inches and put down, as you can see, another suspect marker, which is another Stinky Fish for It Doesn't Look Fresh for 2 points. He's basically he's also holding the loot, so anyone following him, i.e. Nightwing, can't do more than either pick that up or beat him down. Don't think so, you know. They have to make a decision as to what to do by the end of the game, or the Bat family. But yeah, there you go. It Doesn't Look Fresh scored. Well, we'll probably be scoring, but we'll see. It's out in the cards, and yeah, over to Nightwing. Well, eyeing up what he could have done, Nightwing had some cards that could have scored 3 points from the hands. There was a snitch in there for him if he wanted, and no one could really have stopped him if he'd wanted to. But no, he saw that he could swing it a bit more by chasing down the Robin Who Laughs, who'd just taken off. He had to use his Batclaw again, but again, another team thing for the Bat family is that once per game, one of their models can use its Batclaw twice in a row, as opposed to having to wait a turn for it to recharge recharge, so he did that just to finish off the game. Chased this guy down with his bat claw, like I said, and then beat him unconscious with his electric batons. That causes the not only does it cause the Robin who last to drop the valuable commodities that he had, popped them in the goop there, and he also managed to score, just for 1 point, a nice dirty job card from the hand for 1 point, making any mortal KO or casualty nice and easy. But yeah, so that's a 4-point swing really, if you take into account the valuable commodities being lost, and yeah, 1 point, an extra 1 point there for the Bat family overall. Better than putting down a snitch and then, you know, surrendering the ability to get those commodities. Okay, that's it. We've got one more model to go for the Batman Who Laughs. We'll see what he's going to do. Just to round things off, high scoring wise, another snitch marker came out. It appeared in the hand of the Batman Who Laughs, and so this little guy moved down into a nice open area in the Batman crew, in the Bat family, deployment zone, and popped down a suspect, which was turned into said snitch. So yes, there won't be. That's the last move of the game. There'll be nothing they can do to stop that. But I'll formally advise of that in the recount phase, which I'm going to just now. Okay, the last recount phase of the game. Let's start with the Bat family. They managed to score from the shadows by arresting the Batman Who Laughs before anyone else, so 2 points guaranteed for them. They had their valuable commodities still on Batwoman, who is very much unscathed. So yep, another 3 points for them there. Nice. On the Batman Who Laughs crew, the smelly fish underneath Nightwing's base is still out and on the board and untouched, so 2 points, and cunning playment of a snitch at the very end scores them those 3 points, like I said just a moment ago. And also out of their hand, because they have way more suspects out than the Bat family, they managed to get stick to the plan again, the very last card to come out into their hand as they played other things, and yes, 2 points there. Okay, well, I'm ready to find out who's going to win. I've lost count altogether. I think it's going to be quite close though, and we'll see. Okay, it's time for the final count. Sorry for the slight noise back there if you picked up on the microphone. Hopefully won't catch that again now. But yes, I've got the Batman score, I've got the Bat family score pile in hand, and let's find out how much they managed to accrue by the end of the game. So 3, 5, 7, 10, 12, 15, 17, 20, 23, 24, 27, 29 points. That's a good healthy score. Quite a lot considering their low model count as well. Meant they didn't have many activations, so I think they made a pretty good fist of that. Let's see what the Batman Who Laughs managed though. Genuinely have no idea who's won. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 27, and 29 again. 29 apiece. Wow, honours exactly even. You know, that's pretty unlikely. A draw between these two high-powered teams. That's I don't know what to say. That's pretty interesting. Pretty good. Very enjoyable game. I mean, obviously the Batman Who Laughs was arrested and beaten down, but nonetheless he took his toll. He took 2 of the Bat family out before he succumbed himself, and his Robins carried on scoring points tooth and nail. That was both sides scoring cards that, you know, but one was, you know, from the shadows was quite a surprise coming into the hand at the beginning of the turn, and stick to the plan, like I said, for the Batman Who Laughs, literally came into the hand at the very last second, and they were able to score it in the 4th phase. So on that card alone they managed to pull it back to a draw. So tooth and claw indeed. Very fun game. I do like both of these crews, and I look forward to using them a lot more. Particularly be using the Batman Who Laughs soon. I'll try and put them up against a more standard crew with, you know, a mixture of henchmen and whatnot, and, you know, a leader, free agents, etc., rather than a team with any quirks. Yeah, be more interesting to see how the Batman Who Laughs ability to bring extra models onto the board comes into play in that sort of setting, etc. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed watching this game. I certainly enjoyed playing it, and yes, please join me for another battle report. There's plenty more on the channel to check out if that's what you want to do. You know, it's hopefully educational to you. I try and make these educational if I can. Please leave any comments or whatever just to let me know what you feel about the game, or anything I might have got wrong, or anything you'd like to see in the future perhaps. And yes, I'm Shieldwall100, and have a good day. Thank you very much.